Welcome to the Practice Podcast, a show created by lawyers to help lawyers in life and business without all the complicated lawyer language. Let's welcome Bast Amron founders and your hosts, Jeff Bast and Brett Amron.
Brett Amron.
Hi, Jeff.
How are you?
All right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic.
Great.
We're recording this in December. It's dipped down into the 50s in Miami, which is probably like 59, really. 50, 60, which is the peak of winter for us. And I'm wondering, what is your favorite season in Miami?
There is only one season in Miami. It just generally gets a little bit cooler and not as hot and humid. The heat and the humidity is definitely not my favorite.
No. All right. Is it running focused? Because when you're running, do you I'm not a big runner, but when I do run, I don't love when it's too cold. You know,
no, I don't. It can't be too cold.
It doesn't bother you?
No.
There's never too cold?
I've run in freezing temperatures, like where if I have any water bottles or anything, they've frozen. That doesn't bother me. But yeah, it never gets that cold here.
Right.
But I think part of it is running focus. Part of it is just general feeling. Like when you're outside, took dogs for a walk last night, it's just super nice. And it's just much more pleasant to be outside than it is in the summer.
And not sweat, right? Not sweat immediately when you walk outside.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it's just getting in and out of the water. It's cold. Look, usually I get in at like this time of year, I get in the water and the water is warmer than the air.
Right.
So it actually is warming.
Just getting out of the water.
Getting out is brutal.
Yeah,
brutal. Anyway, we have a guest today. Our special guest is Phillip Hogan. Phillip is the founder and CEO of Signing Services of America, LLC, which is a nationwide notary signing service company with a robust database of attorneys and CFPB compliant notary signing agents. They do auto, escrow, law firms, and title insurance companies. They work with those groups. And those groups have enormous pressure to prepare and close loans on time. Phillip's group helps them with that. Phillip has recognized the need for virtual partners able to schedule and manage remote signings in a convenient manner. And today he has more than 65,000 signing agents in his database. He has really created a company dedicated to excellence, creativity, and long-lasting relationships. Welcome, Phillip.
Thank you.
So, Phillip, give us a little bit of your background. I'd love to know how it is that you ended up in this field with this business.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Part of my background is that I'm also an athlete, right? And so I am a New Yorker, born, raised, and educated. I now live in Atlanta, Georgia, but while living in New York, I was a semi-pro bicycle racer. And best times of the day for me to get out and do solo training was between 5 and 6 o'clock a.m. And that was the best time. The streets were pretty much not full with traffic and people were moving about, but there was still lanes for us to get out and ride my bike. So people would sometimes look at me and say, this guy's crazy. It's like 40 degrees and he's out here riding a bicycle. And so it didn't mean anything. You know, you dress appropriately, you dress in layers and you deal with the weather conditions as they are. And the weather conditions were just one of the elements that you had to deal with to get in what you needed to get done to accomplish your goals. So I can really relate to the both of you in regard to, being weather sensitive and also being athletically involved. And today, I no longer race, but I now scuba dive. And so I'm diving throughout the world. And, water temps are sometimes very, very questionable, depending upon what region of the country you're in, will determine how warm the water is. And so in November of 2024, I did 13 dives in 7 days in Dominica. And so the water temps were 82 degrees, right? So it was beautiful, right?
I've dove there. It's beautiful, Dominica.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. And we stayed at the Jungle Bay Resort. So it was a fantastic experience, but the water temps were 82. However, when we dive quarries in Georgia or North Florida, the water temps could be sometimes 72 into the thermocline. So, but what are you going to do? If this is something that you really enjoy doing, you find ways to weather the temperatures to accomplish your goal. Yeah. And that's the same philosophy I have when it comes to business. It's like whatever the conditions are, you find a way to set aside, to push down, to break through those potential obstructions that would allow you to accomplish the goal of whatever your business desires are. And so with Signing Services of America, which is a national notary signing service. We have been in business since 2016. And in the 8 years of business, we have hired over 32,000 notaries, and we have scheduled more than $1 billion in various real estate transactions. And we've been able to do that because of the passion that I'm fueled with and the desire to win, the relentless desire to win. And that's kind of like the common theme as I look past in my life, my 67 years of life, and look at the things that I've accomplished and what was consistent. It was the desire to win. It was the relentless desire to come out on top. And it often required me to really look deep inside myself and ask, okay, what does this particular task require from me? And am I willing to give it that plus a little bit more to accomplish the goals? And SSA was no different. When we first started in 2016, there were a lot of challenges. And some of those challenges were I didn't really know this industry. I didn't have any resources. Resources meaning individuals or companies or vendors that I knew and had already established a relationship with that could collaborate with me to build SSA. What did I have to do? Go within and find a way to win. And slowly, vendors and individuals, key individuals became apparent, relationships were established, and thus we began to meet the needs of our clients, and here we are.
Yeah, so Phillip, this is fascinating to me. You and I have not met. I read your bio and your business. Kudos to you for building such a successful and wide-ranging business.
Thank you.
I'm curious how you got, it's really a two-parter, apologize for that, but how did you get into this specific field, building a notary services and a remote notary services business, number one? And then number two, like the need for it, how did you find this need and the continued growth? Because for me and for us as lawyers, like we always have a couple of notaries here in the office. My wife became a notary just in case it was needed, but you seem to sort of bring everything together to build this pretty large and successful business so far.
Sure. And I'll be happy to answer the question. Thanks for asking. And so in 2014, I was really interested in moving toward the entrepreneurial path. And I was working, had a really good job, but I wasn't happy. I really wasn't. And I wasn't happy because I just didn't think that I was really tapping into my resources that God gave me and my parents instilled in me and nurtured for me to become a businessman. And so I had purchased a car, and as a matter of fact, it was a 2012 Audi A6, and the dealership, and it was out of state. So the dealership sent in the notary to my home with the documents to close in the car. And I'm like, okay, I was really taken aback. And I said, okay, what's this all about? And so while we were signing the documents, I was asking questions out of curiosity. And then the notary said, listen, let's just get these documents signed, and then I'll answer any question that you had. Great. So I held him hostage for about an hour. I didn't hold him hostage, but I just asked him for a few questions. And he was very nice to explain to me how he became a notary, what he does, how he does it, who he does it for, how much does he generally get paid, and how did he get to this point? And immediately I said, I can do that. This is something that I can do. I had already gone to school, got the education, got the degrees, and didn't want to go down that path anymore. And I just needed something that didn't require a lot of ramp-up time, but it would allow me to have a lot of control. And thus, I spoke with my wife, and she says, okay, this is what you want to do. You got my blessings, so to speak. And I became a notary in Georgia and pretty much did everything that the gentleman described I should do, which was to, get my notary stamp and to market myself in various websites that notaries are found. And therefore, my phone began to ring. I began to understand the real estate documents and did really well. And before you know it, I was banging out a number of orders, traveling throughout North Georgia, getting these real estate transactions done, connecting resources, but more importantly, learning the ropes, if you will, of being a mobile traveling notary. And one of the things about mobile traveling notaries are we really focus on the real estate documents. I don't have to drill down into that, but various real estate documents is what we really are hired to do. And I was really good at that. And so in 2015, in later part of 2015, there was a title company in Clearwater, Florida that began sending me a lot of business. And before you know it, we established a great relationship. I visited them. They were very impressed that I came to visit, how I was working, the quality of the work I was doing was they were just really, really pleased, and they wanted a collaborate tour in Georgia to help them establish their brand and build it out. Guess what? Phillip Hogan got the nod. And so the opportunity was there. I said, let's do it. In order to do it, I needed to start a signing service that gave me the resources to meet the demand of the client that was sending a ton of business into Georgia. And thus, Signing Service America was started in 2016.
Did you start, was it a merger or a partnership with the folks in Florida?
It was just simply a collaboration, vendor collaboration. They needed someone who could be able to schedule and fulfill the orders that their national lenders were sending them. Nice. And Signing Service America was able to do that.
Fantastic. And then how did you grow from 2016 to, 2024? It's 8 years. You have 65,000 signing agents. How does that happen?
Sure. And so how we able to grow first is that we provided a exceptional service to our client. And we only have one client. And I've learned over the years that very rarely does a company start and you have the kind of business that we had. And so we were very fortunate that the pressure was enormous to market to businesses to get them to give us business, is that we opened the doors and literally like day one, we had, we were banging out 20, 30, 40 orders a day. Wow. And we just continued to grow. And as we marketed ourselves to social media, there are more notaries who found out about us that wanted to join with us. And of course, we wanted them to partner with us. And we thought we had a good product and good terms. And so they agreed to work with us. Technology is really the center of having a business of this type. Right? We don't call notaries, send them text messages by way of just a cell phone. We use some high-tech software that allows us to communicate with the notaries in our database by basically sending them an SMS text message. So social media was an opportunity to establish ourselves, and that vehicle served the purpose of being able to become available to notaries who are looking for a signing service to partner with. And thus, that was a key feature to help us grow. One is to be able to have the business, right? Two, the reputation of doing good business, both with our clients. And then three is doing good business with our notaries.
You said you have one client. Is that still the case today? And who would be your ideal client to add to your roster?
Sure. That client has closed up, unfortunately, and it was very sad because, we were able to accomplish some really great things. And today we are always, through social media, we're always marketing ourselves to national mortgage lenders, national title insurance companies, escrow offices, and real estate law firms, as well as estate planning law firms. We also have begun to market to the tort law firms in doing class action lawsuits. And so we recently, early part of 2024, we got a case that had about 1,000 claimants, and the administrator for the class action lawsuit reached out to us. We partnered, and we were able to get notaries to meet with their claimants to get those various documents. They call it, the claimant agreement or settlement agreement, to be signed and executed by the notary as well as the signer. So there are a variety of businesses that need the services of a national notary signing service. And the key piece is this. They can go to the website and find a notary near me, and that's fine. But yet, and still, there's a lot of heavy lifting that's involved to getting that notary to understand what it is that needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and here are the things to do that we'd like you to get done. The heavy lifting is alleviated by working with us, because we will do the scheduling, we will reach out to the notary, we will manage the notary, vet the notary, and support that notary to ensure that the way you want documents executed will be done flawlessly. And that's a huge advantage, because what happens is that we are reallocating time back to the client. So instead of spending a few extra minutes working with the notary to explain what they need to be done, send it to SSA, they'll take care of it. Meanwhile, I can go over here and do some other things, go to 10 other cases or other duties throughout my day.
Right. And is a large portion, or is a portion of the practice the fire drill notarization where, because I've seen circumstances for us, we're trying to get something signed, notarized. We need something notarized. Oh, the client's on a trip in Colorado or whatever. They're on a ski mountain. Oh, geez, how do we find a note? And now we're calling law firms that we know and they're calling someone else. And so obviously if we had your number at that time, we would have saved a lot of time and effort. But do you deal with those unplanned
all the time,
events?
Every day that we're always putting out fires. And, in COVID, it was a mass fire. We couldn't be outside. We were restricted and we had to work remotely and business was not disrupted. Our clients continued to reach out to us. They never knew we shifted from working in the office to working remotely. And because although we were unprepared to do that, once we realized what we had to do, we immediately put our plans into action and ultimately got things done. So I think that was the first fire drill. This is the first fire, not fire drill, but the first fire that we ever experienced company-wide, right? And then over the years, we have these one-offs. The most recent is we do remote online notarizations, right? We have the platform, we have the technology, we have the notaries who know how to use the technology as well as my in-office staff. So we got a call from a escrow officer in Texas. He was frantic. He had an Asian gentleman in China that needed to get the seller-side document signed, and he didn't speak any English. So we had to find a Mandarin-speaking notary, one. And two, we also needed to make sure that the Mandarin-speaking notary knew how to operate the software, the remote online notarization software, so we can get the deal done. And he stepped back and we did what we do. And, and what did we do? We had the notary, we had the software, we scheduled the signing with the gentleman in Asia. He got the document signed. He was extremely thrilled. And so was our client. So those are the type of situations that really are life, really actual situations that our clients will sometimes call and help us and ask us to help them resolve. Yeah. And we have. And now we've become known as a problem-solving signing service.
Right.
Are there competitors to you, like who, obviously there's a lot of other individual notaries mentioned like here and there, law firms have it, it's sort of sporadic. I mean, I'm not aware, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, of this industry at large, if you will. Did you create this industry or are there other like you out
Great question.
Don't say their names.
Question.
Yeah, no, we don't have to give them publicity. I'm just curious as to if there are.
No, I would never do that. No, I know. Competition is good, right?
Yeah.
It's helpful because one, it brings out the best in you, and then it also helps you to position yourself with those seeking your services to say, hey, listen, my competitors is doing this, but we're doing this, we're doing that. And that is what you're really looking for. And so to answer your question directly, yes, there are competitors. And yes, we are constantly, fiercely competing against them, just as if I was when I'm in a bicycle race, right? There, you got 30, 40, 50 cyclists all running and pushing to get one goal, to come in either first, second, third, fourth, right? And so what do? Then you have good equipment, you have the knowledge, you have the athletic ability to push further and harder than your competitors will because you want it more. And that's the concept that I have with Signing Service America. Remember, I said earlier that I always am working hard to win. I'm willing to do what is needed to be done to win or more. And one of the features that we do that's really, really positive for us is that we're proactive communicators. Right? We're proactive thinkers. We don't wait till the bomb explodes and say, oh, crap, we got a problem. No, what we do is we go to our client and say, hey, listen, you need to be aware that the way you want to do this particular thing may not work out the way you want. It could be some potential problems. This is what we advise. And many of our clients will say, listen, we thank you for that. Man, that's really great. I didn't realize that you guys cared that much. But that's the way we work. And that is ultimately, I think, the epitome of having exceptional customer service. Looking at your customer, understanding what the product is that they have, understanding your role in that relationship, and maximizing what you can do to make sure that your client is constantly and well taken care of.
How does the conversion to or allowance of electronic signatures altered, or will it alter your business going forward, right? You mentioned remote notary and all of that stuff. Maybe that deals with it, but all of us get emails with the ability to sign remote DocuSign and other services. How does your platform interact with that?
Well, DocuSign is not a you're not notarizing documents in a DocuSign.
Right.
You're just simply executing documents electronically, and that's it. And the transaction moves forward. Whereas with what's called the remote online notarization, there you're both electronically signing documents, and then three things: electronically signing documents, electronically notarizing those documents, and doing the background investigation to ensure that the signers that are sitting in the session to sign and notarize documents are indeed who they say they are. Okay. Right? With DocuSign, that doesn't happen. So the business really we haven't lost business because of technology. It's really enhanced business. It's giving us a greater reach. Why? Because people, may not want to leave their home or may not want individuals to come into their home to have documents signed. And now with the power of remote online notarization, both signer and the notary could be in separate locations, have the document signed electronically, and the deal can get forward. That's all contingent upon obviously the state. Some states have approved it. So like Florida has approved remote online notarization. So, we're doing it all the time in the state of Florida and the state of Texas and a few other states around the country.
Okay. So I imagine it seems to me there's two sides to your business. One is, the escrow agents and title agents and the people who are trying to get their documents notarized. And the other is for you recruiting notaries to join your network. Are you out there promoting people to become notaries, or are you just looking for people who are already notaries? What's the path to becoming a notary and joining SSA?
Sure. Social media has become a huge marketing tool for us. And many notaries go to our Facebook page, they go to our Instagram page and LinkedIn, they learn about us, and then they ask, hey, listen, how do I sign up? Right? They go to especially our website, which is www.signingservicesofamerica.com. It's a great website. It's very informative. We have a short client testimonial video. It really helps to give individuals from a high level, how we operate based upon the client testimonials that our clients have spoken about. And there they can fill out a consultation form, and someone in my company, reach out to that individual, if it's a notary, and they say, listen, how can we help you? And we have a conversation, and we direct them at how they can become a notary within the company. They join our database, and then we have a lot of notaries, so we can't say that we'll hire you tomorrow or the next day or the next year, but you can go in, and when we're looking for someone in your region, if your name comes up on the first few pages of our notary database, we would be happy to work with you. And then once we start working with notaries, we have the ability to repetitively hire the same notary, and that's the advantage that we really talk a lot about with our NSAs, notary signing agents. We want them to understand that, listen, this is not a one-shot deal, right? We want you to understand we're looking to build a long-term relationship. We look for you to be on the team. And to be on the team, these are the things that we do. We want you to buy into those things. And if you do that, then you'll work well with us. Our client will appreciate the work that you do. And therefore, we want to continue to rehire you. And many notaries around the country have gone to appreciate the way that our work ethic, because they come to understand that they're valued, right? First and foremost, people have to feel valued, right? And as a result of that value and feeling like you're a part of a team, a part of a family, then you want to do what that team is doing. And this team is built to win. Just like your firm is built to win, and you want people in your firm who buy into your culture, the same thing with us. Although we're hiring a mobile workforce, we still want that mobile workforce to buy into our company culture. And many do. And as a result, they're rewarded by getting repetitive business from us.
Are the agents, the signing agents, are they exclusive? So they only work through you, or how does that work?
We would love for that to happen, but unfortunately, no. They have other clients, and they have to then work. It's just no. To answer your question, they don't work exclusively for us. Right. However, when they accept our order, you are exclusively working for us for that time. Gotcha. And so therefore we have our policies and our special instructions that they must adhere to. And then once the file is closed and we've moved on, then they have other clients and they move on with those clients as well. And then when we need them again, we send them another text message. Hey, listen, we got something going on next Tuesday, 6:00. Are you available? Yes. Okay. And then we go ahead and send over the order, and they go and do what they have to do as mobile notaries.
Before we let you go, that's great. I need to ask about Phillip, the professional cyclist.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. What was your discipline, distances, and where did you compete and for how long?
Sure. I appreciate the question. And I don't mean to be long-winded on this one, but I'm pretty passionate about it. So I competed in the Northeast in New York, and I had got invited to Stephen Roach Cycles. And Stephen Roach is an Irish bicycle racer who won a tour. And once he retired, he started his club and he got his name. And then boom, I was invited to join the Masters team for Stephen Roach Cyclists, and working backwards pretty much in Prospect Park and Central Park, because we had weekend events every weekend when summer broke, from when the season opened up from like March through probably September. We had the park series. And then we would also race throughout the Northeast, New Jersey and Connecticut and even Washington and Philadelphia. And so the biggest claim to fame is that there's a race in Harlem called the Mount Morris Race. And it's a really big race. It's a criterium, and criterium is just, you're racing around city blocks, right? So it was in Mount Morris Park, and it's a fast race. I mean, it's a super fast race. And that race was when I was a category 5. And so I won that race. That was my first race that I've ever won. And lo and behold, it really helped establish me as being a dominant threat, a force in bicycle racing in the Northeast. And so that's where I raced, and that's how I raced, and a lot of the guys that I raced with, I trained with, I raced against, and we were buddies. It's just like football players and athletes. You train with people, and then the day of the game, I'm still your buddy, but as soon as the whistle blows, hey, listen, I'm playing with my team, and that's the way it was in cycling.
That's great.
And we had fun, and it was a great time in my life. I really enjoyed it.
Cool. It sounds like.
Do you still ride today?
Unfortunately, no. When I moved to Georgia, I had put my bike in the back of my car and all of my equipment, because I was going to do a race in Grant Park. There's a park here in Atlanta. Yep. And they broke in my car and stole all of my equipment.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
It sucked.
That stinks.
It sucked. It was a beautiful bike. It was a light speed, fully titanium with a carbon fiber fork, all of my gear. And at that time, I was just still raising children, so I had to make a decision. Do you spend another $10,000 to $12,000 on a bicycle, or do you take care of your family?
Yeah. That's an easy one.
That's an easy one. Well, if you get back on the bike, maybe the three of us can do a triathlon, relay, run, swim, bike. So this was fun, Phillip. Really appreciate having you on the show. And if you are listening and you enjoyed this episode, please show us some love by leaving us a review, subscribe to the show, and share it with your friends and family. It'll make it easier for others to find the show. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thank you, Phillip. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I had fun, guys.
Thank you, Nelson. Thanks, Nelson. Thank you, Brett.
For more information on this show and other resources, visit fastamron.com and connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram @FastAmron.